should you be getting married very soon, what would be the 5 things you'd want to sit down with your fiancé with and to make sure that, you see eye to eye on those things before proceeding? Let us know. You can go to our Twitter or you can go to our Facebook and let us know what you think. Or you can reach out to us through the RX Radio app and join us here in this very interesting conversation we are having. Let's see if we have a caller on the line. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Who are we talking to?
Cynthia, I'm alright.
Are you married, Cynthia?
No, I'm not married.
Are you about to be married?
I'm dating. I'm not about to be married.
Are you wanting to be married someday?
Someday, yes, definitely.
Okay, so that being the case, what would be the 5 things you'd want to agree on with your partner before proceeding?
Alright. I feel like, first of all, like there's things that how you said sex and all that. But in as much as we might sit down and talk about things like that, we do not know what's going to happen in marriage, right? Like we might get together and then suddenly things beyond our control. Like we cannot sit before marriage and plan how many times we're going to have sex or things like that.
No, why not? Minimum 3 times a week.
But you see, like she said, we don't know what's going to happen in the marriage. We might get a child that has maybe Down syndrome. Maybe they're autistic. That means it's going to be tasking on both of us. So we may not have sex as much as we would want to.
Yeah.
Well, that's definitely going to have problems or lead to problems in the marriage. So what? So just because you have a sick child, you can't have sex with me?
It depends. How sick is the child?
My goodness. And this is why sometimes even fathers might find themselves resenting the baby. Because now they're in competition for the mother's attention.
I know.
And the body.
I know. Meanwhile, I've had stories of mothers that run to health centers and the babies are malnourished and the mother is crying. So the health officials are like, why aren't you breastfeeding the child? And the mother is like, the father drinks the milk. Seriously.
There was a country where I think the president or some minister was warning the men in the country or in the community that you need to stop. I think it was Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
Where, men were depleting the woman's milk supply.
As in, how do you even do that?
I've never tasted human milk, but I've been made to understand it's not very tasty.
I have breastfed and I don't even want to imagine how it tastes.
No, but because I know obviously a baby will drink it. For us
Yes.
as human adults, we normally drink, the milk from the cow.
Yes.
So we are used to that taste. But the taste of breast milk of a human woman, I hear it's bitter or something. I don't know.
I don't think it's bitter.
Haven't you tasted your own milk?
No.
What?
Why
Is
would
it
I
so
taste
gross?
my own? As in, I find it so gross to even think about
it comes out of
tasting
you.
it. It does, and it's healthy for the child.
So can't
not
you just
for me.
pull the boob and
Oh, come on, fat boy.
take a sip? What? Why wouldn't you?
No.
I mean, you're going to feed your child with it. Wouldn't you want to know if it tastes right?
All I know is that if I'm taking good care of myself, the baby is sorted, not me.
You seem so grossed out by it. That's very strange. But anyway, Cynthia, you said you're Cynthia. So what are the 5 things you'd look at besides the sex? So besides sex, what else would matter to you and your spouse?
Relationship with God.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
I'd
want
like
a God-fearing man.
And someone with a relationship with God.
What does that mean, a relationship with God?
Have someone to lean on. Like, believe in something. Believe in something.
Believe in what?
The universe?
Whether it's the universe, whether it's God, but generally, I don't know.
What if he's an atheist? So is that no deal?
I mean, yes, yeah. I think it's no deal.
Okay. I didn't realize that we were hated that much.
You didn't realize that you had no chance with Cynthia.
Yeah. So I guess he has to speak in tongues and all that stuff, right?
No, when someone says I believe in the universe, it means, you believe in energy, you believe in things like that. Not necessarily saying that, oh, I follow the Bible or etc.
Oh, basically you want a man of faith in some fashion.
Yeah.
All right. And what about finances? I'm surprised you haven't mentioned that. That doesn't matter to you? Who pays for what? You have to agree on this. You must, by the way, like the rent if you're renting. Mortgage, if you're taking a mortgage.
Car.
Car, who's buying the car? Who's maintaining the car? That's another thing. These women, they tell you they're career women and they drive, but my friend, it's the husbands who have to keep taking the car to the garage.
But if I have to do the manly things in the marriage, then why do I have a husband?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I thought you're an independent woman. Can't you do this yourself?
No, I could pay for the service, but if my husband is going to help me take my car to the garage, to the petrol station for service, I would. That is very sexy.
Sexy. See how they manipulate men?
No. It is facts.
Making us spend money is sexy, apparently. Trying to pull a fast one on us. Okay, so what about, let's see. Well,
Children?
Children, yes, children. Number of children. Sometimes a woman might surprise a man by saying, I want no kids. Or sometimes the man says that. So you need to have a discussion about that, don't you?
Yes, definitely. A topic about children should be had. However, can we plan and say, oh, let's have 4 children? Is that something that works? Because in as much as you might plan, it's not necessarily what will happen.
But at least having a plan helps.
Yeah, at least having a plan helps.
So what if having children does not happen as easily as expected? Maybe you have infertility issues. What do you do? Are you open to conversations about
wife number
children,
2?
Adoption, wife number 2, things like that, surrogacy?
Yes, you said you want a man of God. The Bible is full of stories of women who bring their servant girls to produce babies for their husbands.
That brings me to my next point, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
My partner and I'd love us to be more friends than anything. So if something like that happens and I sit down and I'm like, listen, there's surrogacy. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Let's talk about it. It's not a situation of, oh, you failed to give birth, then get out of my house, yada, 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 etc.
How about politics?
Should politics have a hand to play in marriage?
Some people take their political beliefs very seriously.
Yeah, for example, if you're if you support NUP, Bobby Wine,
and he supports NRM,
wouldn't you want to date an NRM man?
they swim in money.
Aren't they so rich? These NRM guys, they seem to be very good at business. It's so mysterious. They're always loaded.
They're in real estate. They own
higher up the
property.
chain. The higher up the chain they are, the better they seem to be doing. So why not?
So Cynthia, does politics have a place at your table?
Does politics have a place
On your table?
If we support the same thing, I mean, by all means. If we do not, why don't we support the same thing?
You see, it is not made in stone or written in stone that you must support the same party.
Yeah.
So what happens if your significant other supports another party? Let's say you live in the United States. I'm using the United States example because that's where politics is well streamlined. So he is a Democrat and you're a Republican. Would that be a deal breaker?
I don't think it would be a deal breaker. However, I recognize that there might be problems ahead because of that. Yeah. So it is something that we should definitely discuss. Yeah.
A lot to think about, I tell you. This marriage thing, it ain't no joke. You better think about it. And in closing, I would say this. I think it's also important for people to discuss how they should deal with separation. Mm-hmm. So even if there you are in the throes of passion, you're madly in love with each other, you can't keep your hands off of each other, I think you should ask yourselves, okay, so if we break up, shall we still be friends? How do you think we should handle it? Would you be willing to be more compromising, or would we still be able to be friends? Because what happens is, and it's so tragic, people who once were the best of friends, because of a breakup now, they can't even talk to each other.
They become mortal enemies.
And so I think people need to have that conversation before they start dating. Don't you think so?
Before they get into marriage.
Yeah.
Yes, before they get into marriage.
But just like friendships, right?
Mm-hmm.
how do you sit down with your friend and say, "Hi, listen, we are great. Our relationship is great. I love you, you love me, but like if we ever break up, it's
Mhm.
like foreshadowing a relationship. It's like wishing it ill. I know it's something necessary to talk
Come on, it's
about.
like taking out insurance.
But you see, it is some of those difficult things we don't want to talk about because we think our superstitious nature comes in and we think that if we talk about such things, we
Yeah.
are already spelling doom onto the relationship. But think about it. If you're getting married and probably you're going to have children, if you separate, they are going to be the grass that suffers when the elephants fight. So it's
Yeah.
important that you have these conversations because they are going to be a factor in your co-parenting journey.
Mm.
Okay, well, yeah. I think the more we dive into it, the less appealing marriage seems. It just seems like it's too challenging. I mean, just listen to Cynthia. It's like she's groaning.
She's like, oh my
gosh,
goodness, do I have to do this?
It just seems. But perhaps it might be well worth the trouble, just so that you can avoid future problems. So think about it, okay?